Hope you're having a good day. In this live stream, we're going to be researching this weekend's main event between Rafael dos Anjos and Vicente Luque. Now, the last time I did one of these live streams was for the fight between Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, and we managed to dig up a bet on Justin Gaethje, as you can see from the thumbnail here. Obviously, Gaethje came through for us in a big way, and with this fight between Luque and dos Anjos being in the even money odds range, I thought this would be another pretty good one to research. So let's dive in and see what we can find. When I started researching the matchup between Poirier and Gaethje, I didn't expect to find a bet. That's the beautiful thing about fight research. You never know when you're going to be able to dig up a bet. So we dug up a bet on that one. Hopefully we'll be able to dig up a bet on this fight too. But if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, just know that the reason why there's no timestamps or structure or anything like that is because this is a live session and we're going to be researching this fight together to try and work out who's more likely to win. So jump into the live chat, let me know anything I'm missing, give me your opinions on this fight, let me know how you think it's going to play out, and hopefully by the end of this live stream, just like with the Poirier and Gaethje live stream, we can work out which guy out of Luque dos Anjos is more likely to win. Before I do that though, I just want to blast out a quick announcement on my Discord to let everyone know that we've just gone live. And once we've done this, we'll be good to go. Two secs, guys, almost done. Close that down. Alright, there we go, we're good to go, we're good to go. Alright, let's close that down. Close that down. And let's get into it. Have we got anyone online yet? A few people. Hey, what's up, Hugo Boss? Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing good. So what we'll do, give this stream a chance to fill up. Hey, what's up, Will? Hope you're doing good. What's up, Blackleg? Hope you're doing good, mate. 24k Will. Thoughts on Fulham this season? Just think they'll be like regular mid-table team, man, this season. Do you support Fulham, Will? I think they're definitely strong enough to avoid the relegation dogfight. I don't think they'll be struggling. Obviously, the Mitrovic drama means they may struggle a little bit more for goals than they did last season, but they're a top team now. They're a good team, man. I think they'll be just fine this year. Hey, Patrick, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing good. Alright, let's take a look at the odds on this one then. So, Rafael dos Anjos is the slight favourite at average odds of around 1.81, which is going to be minus 123 for an implied probability of 55%. If we take a look at the odds on Vicente Luque, he's going to be around an average of 2.0, which is going to be plus 100 for an implied probability of 50%. So this fight, close to 50-50 in the eyes of the bookies. If we take a look at the X factors on this one, so Luque is 31 years old, 5'11" with a 76-inch reach, and dos Anjos, 38 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. So you can see that Luque does have a pretty big size advantage here. Not only is he going to be, you know, a little bit taller than dos Anjos, but he's also going to have a massive 6-inch reach advantage, which is pretty big because both these guys like to stand and strike, and we know Luque is a very good boxer. Obviously RDA is a great striker as well, but 6-inch reach advantage is pretty massive. Statistically, a 6-inch reach advantage means that you'll win around about 67% of the time. So if you were to just blind bet, whenever a fighter has got a 6-inch reach advantage, you'd win 67% of the time over the long term, which, to be honest, isn't bad considering Luque's odds have got an implied probability of 50%. So just blind betting that statistic alone would give you a 17% edge over the bookie. On top of that, we can see that Luque is 31 years old and RDA is 38, and we know obviously age plays a big factor in the outcome of MMA fights. Father Time is undefeated. We have seen Rafael dos Anjos show signs of significant decline over the last few years. Ever since USADA came into effect, really, and he had to move up from the lightweight division to the welterweight division. He's never looked as good at welterweight as he did at lightweight. And with Luque being 7 inches, I keep saying the wrong thing, 7 years younger than RDA, that statistically gives him around a 65 to 67% chance of winning. So again, just like the reach advantage, Luque has got strong trends on his side, being a lot younger, having a longer reach. And again, with Luque's implied probability being 50%, you've got 2 strong trends in Luque's favour, with him being younger than RDA, having that 6-inch reach advantage. Now, what I would also say about the age is statistics are only as useful as the analysis behind them, right? So statistics are only really useful when they are interpreted in the correct way. So for example, if a 33-year-old is fighting a 26-year-old, there's still a 7-year age gap in that fight, but the 33-year-old's probably still in his prime, not really showing any signs of declining, and the 26-year-old is going to be a young, hungry, motivated bull. So if you've got a 7-year age gap when you've got like a 26-year-old facing a 33-year-old, I mean, the 26-year-old probably isn't going to have any statistical advantage at all. But when you've got situations where a 31-year-old in their prime is facing a guy close to 40 years old, he's going to be 39 in October, that's where this statistic is really meaningful and should be weighted very heavily. Because you've got to think that that statistic is an average of all fights that have got a 7-year age gap, right? 21-year-olds fighting 28-year-olds, 33-year-olds fighting 26-year-olds, 30-year-olds fighting 37-year-olds. And we know with the age of these two guys, it's like the sweet spot for when that age gap is really meaningful and does give the younger guy a really big advantage. So if we had stats for how often a 31-year-old beats a 37-year-old, I'd anticipate it would be much higher than 37%. So we got to keep that in mind. Now, another X factor for us to focus on in this one, though, is that Luque is coming into this fight on the back of a really significant health issue and a really scary health issue as well. Obviously, fighters get injured all the time, and we always have to discuss and weigh up, the impact on injuries and health issues, in terms of how a fighter is going to be able to perform. But it's very rare that, we have to talk about something as scary as a brain hemorrhage. And after Vicente Luque's last fight against Jeff Neal, tragically he did suffer from a brain hemorrhage, which kept him on the sidelines for a year. So we haven't seen Luque since August 2022. And obviously, I mean, this is a pretty significant health issue to have. It's going to be very scary, right? Some people just drop dead after having a brain hemorrhage. My uncle died of a brain hemorrhage. He went to bed one night with a headache and, had a brain hemorrhage, was in a coma for 3 weeks and eventually died. So, fighters are very tough. They are very resilient. But I feel when you have a health issue like this, it's like surely it's gotta have some kind of effect on your mentality, and how you perform. Who knows if Luque will be as durable and as tough as he has been in the past. Who knows if he'll still be able to take a shot. And I would imagine his confidence has taken a huge hit, since this health issue, and so he may not be as confident as he used to be. Performance anxiety might be running out of control. He may not be as aggressive. He might not fight, at as high of a pace as he used to, and that might not make Luque as effective as he used to be. So I want to be really respectful in talking about this, because it's obviously something terrible that's happened to Luque, and I feel really bad for him. It's absolutely horrible. Obviously my job is to dig for strong positions for me to put my money when I bet on football and the UFC. So we do have to consider it, talk about it as respectfully as we can. I do think it's a major factor to take into consideration on this fight, in terms of the probabilities that both guys have of winning. Obviously he's been cleared to fight this weekend, which is surprising in itself, to be honest with you, after being suspended for 1 year. And I guess, the only way we're really going to know the impact that this has on his ability to perform this weekend is when we see him this weekend. So for me, it's very dangerous to bet Luque, because again, I want to talk about this as respectfully as possible, but I've gone blurry. Brilliant. I want to be as respectful about this as possible, but we know that when a fighter gets knocked out, it can change him forever. How many times have we seen a guy go his whole career without, getting knocked out, and then he gets knocked out, and then suddenly he can't take a shot anymore. I think the best example is probably Cody Garbrandt. At one point, he was very durable, very aggressive. He was one of the best bantamweights in the world, and then overnight, the guy just can't take a shot anymore, and his career kind of falls apart, which again is a horrible thing to say, but it's just what's happened, right? So I do worry for Luque this weekend. Fortunately, Dos Anjos isn't the most dangerous guy. Obviously, Dos Anjos used to be a lightweight. He's one of the smaller welterweights at 5'8". He is quite old. He's always been a volume striker. Even in his prime, he never really had that big power in his hands, that true legit one-shot knockout power. He was always more of a volume striker. So perhaps this is a nice fight for Luque to return with, because on one hand, Dos Anjos is a big enough name, whereas if Luque wins this, it actually means something. It pushes him or keeps him in that title picture. Whereas, if he loses, it might not be a huge setback either. And Dos Anjos, if you look at his record, pretty much a decisionator, right? He hasn't knocked anyone out since he fought, I believe it would have been Eddie Alvarez, right? No, the wrong way round. I knew it was close to the Eddie Alvarez fight. It was the Donald Cerrone fight when he knocked Cerrone out, then got knocked out by Eddie. So RDA hasn't knocked anyone out in 8 years. At 38 years old, he's not going to be getting any more dangerous. So not a bad fight for Luque to return to, but who knows if he'll ever be the same again. One more thing for us to mention is that obviously, again, statistics are only as useful as as the person interpreting them, right? Yeah. So statistics need to be interpreted correctly for them to mean anything. And what I would say is, even though RDA has had over 40 pro fights, he's going to be 39 years old soon. He's undersized. And he's not the same guy that he was a few years ago. He is still a pretty capable fighter. His cardio is still very good. His reflexes still look reasonably good. He's still tough. He's still durable. He can still take a shot. So RDA, while he is declining and will continue to decline as he ages, he's not totally shot. Something as significant as a brain hemorrhage can have massive implications for Luque's ability to perform to his full potential and his ability to take a shot. And so when we look at age, I always use the example of a car. You know, if you've got a 10-year-old car that's only got 2,000 miles on the clock, but you've got a 1-year-old car with 200,000 miles on the clock, the 10-year-old car is probably going to be more durable than the 1-year-old car because it just hasn't had as much wear and tear on the engine and the components, so it's going to work better. The same kind of applies to Luque and Dos Anjos. It's a strange topic because RDA has had, you know, a lot more fights than Luque. He's also been in a lot of wars. He's had a lot of injuries, a lot of wear and tear on the body. But RDA has also always been quite good defensively. Whereas Luque, we've seen him in so many wars, take so much damage. And now obviously he's had his brain hemorrhage. Even though he's only 31 years old in terms of age, how many miles does he have on the clock? That would be my question. So we'll go to the live chat now and get some of your thoughts on this. See how you guys feel about it before we jump into taking a look at the recent fights. We'll see what you guys are saying. Start off with Twitch. Hey Millsy, how you doing, mate? Hope you're doing good. Yeah, Millsy's saying his uncle died from a brain hemorrhage. It's crazy, man. Like, you know, Luque's probably really lucky. I'm guessing, like, obviously I don't know anything about brain health or anything about that at all. I've got no idea what I'm talking about, but like, brain hemorrhages kill so many people that it makes you wonder if Luque being in like peak physical condition, you know, top health, right? He's a fucking world-class athlete. It makes you wonder if that had anything to do with him being able to pull through, because a lot of people aren't as lucky, man. But obviously I don't know the extent of what happened. You know, there might be like a different scale of brain hemorrhages, right? Like really severe ones, really minor ones. For all we know, Luque could have had a really minor one and it's a giant nothing burger. But you don't hear about it in the UFC and MMA that often, which is why I do think it's important to kind of take it seriously. Hey BTL, hope you're doing good, mate. So Blackleg is saying that Luque's wins haven't aged well. Randy Brown was his most impressive win from 4 years ago. See who he's beaten. Yeah, Chiesa has obviously struggled bad lately. Woodley retired. Yeah, Randy Brown, Nico Price, and getting KO'd by Robbie Lawler's not great. And obviously that fight against Nico, I mean, we probably won't watch it in this stream because it was such a long time ago. But I remember that fight was an absolute war. He did inflict a lot of damage on Price, but he also took a lot of damage himself, so that's not great. And then he obviously took an enormous amount of damage in the Stephen Thompson fight. That was a fucking war. Okay, so what's up, Hiltz? Hope you're doing good, mate. And what's up Joey, hope you're doing good. Hey Mo, how you doing, mate? Mo Sharif is saying Eileen Dos Anjos because Luque's takedown offense is not great. RDA is willing to fight with a grappling heavy game plan. Yeah, that's the thing, right? We've seen RDA use a lot of grappling heavy game plans in recent years. Obviously the Barberena fight, he tried to use a grappling heavy game plan against Fiziev but couldn't get past Fiziev's takedown defense. He grappled against Felder. He grappled a lot against Moicano. And like Mo Sharif is saying, Luque's not great off his back. He does give up cheap takedowns. He got a dangerous submission game, but Dos Anjos, such a high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I'd be amazed if Luque was able to submit him. So yeah, well said, Mo. So BTL is saying the key to brain hemorrhages is finding them early. Overall physical fitness doesn't have a huge effect on it. So I guess that's maybe why Luque survived, right? If they checked him out after the fight, because I'd imagine with how much damage he took in the Jeff Neal fight, how bad the knockout was, I'm guessing he went straight to hospital. So he probably got lucky, man. Alright, I think we should get into some footage then. So I think the Luque's health is going to be like a big part of this research session. So we should probably start off by taking a look at Luque's last fight against Jeff Neal. So what I will do is drop the links for his fight into Twitch and YouTube and fire them up, and then we'll all watch it together. So there's the link for Fight Pass. So yeah, because of copyright, we're not going to be able to watch these fights on the actual stream, but I'm going to use a countdown clock where we can kind of sync the fights that we want to watch up, and we can analyze them together then and watch them at the same time. So that's the link for Fight Pass. I'll grab you guys the link for ESPN Plus now. I can't access ESPN Plus in the UK, so we'll be working off the times off Fight Pass, and we will see what it shows us, man. Alright, so let's get it going. So round 1 on Neal versus Luque starts in 1 minute 27. So sync that up for me, guys. Hey, what's up, A? Hope you're doing good, mate. A is saying, do you think RDA won't stay on the feet for fear of killing Vicente with headshots? Do you know what? Do you know what's actually interesting about your comment? So you have said LOL, right? You have said LOL. As if to say, like, as if RDA would do that. He's never going to do that. It's not actually a crazy thing to say, though, because if you guys remember when RDA fought Renato Moicano, remember that he inflicted so much damage on Moicano that he kind of went easy on him in the 4th and 5th round. So, you know, it's rare you see fighters do this, but I do think RDA did show Moicano a bit of mercy in that one. The funny thing is, though, when RDA started easing off a little bit and taking it easy on Moicano started hulking out and trying to knock him out, and then RDA had to kind of start fighting back. But yeah, there was a period in that where he eased off, so I wouldn't be surprised if RDA's up big on the scorecards against Luque. I wouldn't be surprised at all. You know where it gets really dicey, though, with Luque's future fights? Like, you know how some referees are just, like, really willing to let fights go and let fighters hang in there and, like, take damage and see if they can kind of come back into it? Like, you know, good examples would be, we had the Benoit Saint-Denis fight against Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. That one sticks out, where, you know, Saint-Denis was allowed to take tons of damage. Like, we see fights every weekend where guys are just allowed to take a lot of damage. We had Ferguson Bobby Green recently, and it makes me think, man, like, I don't know, we've fortunately never seen the death of a fighter in the UFC, like, actually in a fight, which is really, really amazing. I mean, it's a miracle when you think about it, with how violent the sport is, how dangerous the sport is, how many fights we have every year. But it makes you think, like, you know, you get those certain referees, like Dan Mergliotta likes to let fights go quite long. It makes you think, man. I mean, Luque's very tough. He's got no quit in him. He gets dragged into these wars all the time. I mean, he initiates a lot of wars. I mean, you know, if Luque does get into one of those kind of fights again, it makes you think what the impact could be, man. It's quite scary to think about. I'm very, very, very surprised that Luque was cleared for this fight. In my Discord community, we were talking about this fight last week, and I said I think it's going to get cancelled. Like, I know he's been cleared to fight. I know the UFC have put him in a main event, but you know what it's like during fight week, when another pair of eyes, maybe a logical brain and an athletic commission, takes a look at what's actually happening. You know, I just had a feeling that someone would be like, no, this is way too dangerous, we can't let this happen. But I'm surprised it is happening. It hasn't been cancelled yet, which is kind of nuts. So anyway, let's get into this first fight. So Jeff Neal against Vicente Luque. So we'll get the countdown clock up, and we'll switch camera as well. Flip over to this one. Flip over here. And yeah, man, let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, 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 go. So here we go. This is Jeff Neal, Vicente Luque. So we got Jeff Neal in the southpaw stance, Luque orthodox here in that open striking stance. So the power punch in hand, power kick in leg is going to be landing for both guys with maximum impact in this stance. So one thing you notice already straight away, I mean, we know this about Luque, but where he's taking control of the centre of the octagon, coming forward, putting a lot of pressure on Jeff Neal. When he's coming forward and closing the distance, he's looking to force Jeff into exchanges with him. But he's kind of standing his ground right in front of Jeff Neal, and he's just not moving his head at all. Like you see there, look at that stinging left hand that Jeff Neal catches Luque with. Like Luque just isn't moving his head. He is a sitting duck on the feet, and you can kind of see why he takes so much damage. Because with Jeff Neal, he's moving around, making himself a moving target. He's moving his head. Look at that head movement behind the high boxing guard from Neal, whereas Luque is a stationary target. So every time, I mean, look at that. Look at that. We literally just said about 20 seconds ago that Neal stung Luque with a stiff left hand, and Luque didn't make any adjustment at all. Came right back on Neal, stood right in front of him, not moving his head, and then got wobbled off a left hand. And now that left hand for Neal is just moving, is just landing over and over and over again. And the reason why he's landing it so easily is because he knows exactly where the target is. Because Luque's not moving his head and he's standing his ground. I mean, he's not even trying to back up and slip shots. Neal knows where the target is when he lets his hands go. That's why he's landing such a huge percentage of these strikes. I mean, look at that. Steps in with the right hand and lands clean. So we're only 2 minutes and 30 seconds into this fight. And already, Luque has taken an enormous amount of damage. He's eaten a lot of clean, hard shots. He's been wobbled. And I'm going to say something crazy. Look, what I'm about to say is not detrimental to Jeff Neal. I don't want to take anything away from Jeff Neal. However, the success that Jeff Neal is having in this fight has more to do with Vicente Luque. Because Luque is literally coming forward, standing right in front of Neal, not moving his head, not backing up, no footwork, and just giving Neal a target to tee off on. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's crazy. And you can just see Neal is just happy to play the role of Matador here. He's going to stay on the outside, and as Luque comes forward, he's just going to pick him off with that left hand. He's wobbled Luque again. So now Luque's been wobbled 3 minutes and, twice in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And this isn't because Neal's like going for the kill and he's really aggressive and he's catching Luque. He isn't. He's actually standing back and allowing Luque to come to him. And yet he's taking huge damage here, which is kind of nuts. And again, he gets dropped again. Wow. So that's 3 times in 4 minutes. The Luque gets wobbled or dropped, and he's just taking a huge amount of damage because he's just not moving his head. His striking defense looks absolutely dreadful. I mean, this is wild because I know Luque has bad striking defense because of how much of a warrior he is, but I'd forgotten it was this bad. It's kind of crazy to watch. Look, even again with the jabs, literally every time Neal lands that left, well, I'm not going to say every time, but like, I don't know what Neal's striking accuracy was in this fight. I'm guessing he lands that left hand like 70% of the time that he throws it. Luque's wobbled again right at the end of the round. His legs briefly went. It was like a little subtle wobble. So crazy, man. That is crazy. I can already tell you, after watching that first round, there's no way I'm betting Luque in this fight. Not a fucking chance. No way. Because he's not going to be getting any more durable after this fight. Maybe his defense will be better. Maybe he'll fight a little bit safer, a little bit smarter. But will that make him as effective if he's not able to come forward and pressure anymore? So anyway, sync up round 2 for me, guys. It starts at 7 minutes 45 on Fight Pass. That's 7 minutes 45 on Fight Pass. Hey, what's up, Sherry? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing good, Sherry. Alright, let's get into this next one. So this is going to be round 2. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So let's see how long it takes for Neil to sting him with that left hand again. We said he was landing like 70%, 80%, something like that of the left hands he was throwing. Let's see how long it takes him to sting Luque again. Guessing not very long. Now what we did see from Luque in the Stephen Thompson fight, I remember the Stephen Thompson fight pretty clearly, is after he took a ton of damage in the first half of the fight, he went into a defensive shell in the second half of the fight and wasn't the aggressor anymore. See if that happens here. So obviously in round 1 he was leading the dance, but he was wobbled 4 times in round 1. So it'll be interesting to see if Luque is a lot more cautious in this round. And we can see Neil being a little bit more aggressive here. You can see Neil coming forward, pumping the jab. He's not just counter-striking like he was in round 1. Yeah, and Luque much more, showing Neil a lot more respect in this round. He came out very, very hard in round 1 and got caught. Whereas now, when Neil comes forward to attack him, he's backing up, trying to slip the shots. And you have to think, with what Luque's been through, surely there's no way that won't affect him in some meaningful way for this weekend, with it being his first fight back. Like, that's got to have a pretty big impact on him. Like, he hasn't taken any big shots in this round, but that's because he's fighting a lot more cautiously, and in the process has been getting outstruck with volume strikes. So it was Neil's power left hand that caused him problems in round 1. Now it's just Neil chipping away at Luque with a decent volume. So Luque has done a much better job of defending himself in this round. Hasn't really eaten any clean hard shots. Moving his head a little bit more. I just don't think he showed Neil any respect in round 1. He came out the gate super hard and was just getting lit up. Whereas in this round he's fighting a little bit more cautiously. Of course the problem is, because he's fighting more cautiously, he's not scoring. He kind of has gone into a bit of a defensive shell like what we saw in the Thompson fight. It's like Luque comes out the gate super hard to try and break you, and if he's not able to, he'll then stand back, sit off a bit and become more technical. Beautiful combinations here from Neil though. I think Neil senses that it's a relatively close round, so he's trying to finish the round strong to put his stamp on it. So you can see Neil picking the pace up here, trying to have a big end of round 2. But Luque sensing it's the business end of the round as well, is also starting to get more aggressive. Double leg entry there from Neil, doesn't get anywhere near it. That was well read from Luque, considering Neil hadn't really attempted a takedown up until this point. He did sweep the leg of Luque obviously about a minute ago, but hasn't actually shot a takedown. So much better round for Luque. Very close round actually up until now. In terms of strikes landed, it's got to be pretty even, I would imagine. Luque looking pretty sharp in this round, much better defensively. Most of the damage he's wearing is from round 1. It's not like Neil has done too much to him in this round. So anyway, let's get round 3 going. So round 3 starts in 13 minutes and 57 seconds on Fight Pass. Hey, what's up, Chaz? Hope you're doing good, Chaz. Hope you're doing good, mate. Thanks for watching, Chaz. Alright, so now let's get into this third round. Start it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So we're starting to see Neil catch Luque with that stinging left hand again. He's landed a couple in this round and he didn't really land. He's landed it again. That's 3 times now in just over a minute. He hadn't really landed it that much in round 2, and I think it's because Luque was a lot more cautious. Now both guys sensing it could be 1 round apiece. You're seeing Luque a little bit more willing to stand in the pocket in exchange. You're seeing Neil come forward and look to be the aggressor, and the end result is Neil starting, with a combination of those 2 factors, is Neil starting to land that left hand again. I don't know what knocked Luque out in this fight. I can't remember. I'm guessing it's a left hand because, oh, there it is. Literally just wobbled him with a shot to the temple. That left hand has just been money over and over and over again all night for Neil. It's just that he can't get out the way of that left hand. It's over. Big win for Jeff Neal. Alright. Okay, so what fight should we watch next? Shall we take a look at... I think we'll take a look at the RDA fight against Bryan Barberena. Seen a bit of Luque. Let's take a look at this one. So I'll drop it in Twitch and YouTube again. So sync this up for me. I'll grab you guys the ESPN Plus link now. There we go, sync that up for me. Get the first round set up. On Fight Pass, it starts at 1 minute 54. That's 1 minute 54 on Fight Pass. Get that synced up. How was Bitcoin doing? It was quite lively before I started the stream. Quite lively again. Very nice. Alright, let's get this first round going. Sync it up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So here we go. Barberena versus RDA. So Luque's striking defense, a big issue. against Jeff Neal, which is interesting because we know RDA is a very technical striker. Obviously, Neal is a lot younger, a lot bigger than RDA. A better boxer as well. You know, Neal's accuracy with our left hand, but at the same time, RDA very sharp on the feet himself. Luque does have that 6-inch reach advantage, but with him not moving his head particularly well, he doesn't do a particularly good job of using the length. So single leg entry there from RDA, doesn't get it, but he walks Barberena over to the cage. Looking for an inside trip. Look at his left leg. He's trying to reap Barberena's right leg out from underneath him. He doesn't get it. Because his arms are so short, he can't get full control of Barberena's body here either. He didn't need it. Barberena's takedown defense weak enough to get him down off that out or that inside trip he was looking for. So straight to half guard here. And we know even though RDA is undersized for a welterweight, his grappling control is pretty good if he can get you down. At times he struggles to get takedowns because he is undersized for the division. But here we can see him trying to pass the mount, or he's not actually, he's passing over the other side on this choke. Difficult for RDA from here though, because the cage is preventing him from stepping over fully and getting the angle he needs to complete the choke. That's why he's going back to mount. And he's going to let it go. Hey, what's up, MMA Locker Room? You okay, mate? Hope you're doing good. Joey is saying that he feels this is RDA or pass. That's how I'm feeling as well, man. With how bad Luque looked defensively against Jeff Neal, with his health issues, how much damage he's taken. Even at 38 years old, with how solid RDA is, it's very, very hard to bet Luque in this fight. I don't feel great about betting a 38-year-old either. You know, RDA is going to be 39 in, I think it's October. It's only a couple months away. As crazy as that sounds, it's going to be Halloween soon. So we know Barberena has bad takedown defense, but typically Barberena is quite difficult to hold down. So I am impressed by RDA's ability to maintain this grappling control. Because whenever we've seen RDA face grapplers throughout his career, while he has given up cheap takedowns, he's pretty good at working his way back up to his feet quickly, which is something that he's struggled with here in this first round against RDA. So it shows that even though RDA is undersized for the division, his grappling control is still very good. So let's get this second round going now. Sync up round 2 for me. So round 2 starts in 8 minutes and 7 seconds. Hey, what's up, Kanye? Hope you're doing good, mate. You know what, Kanye? It's Tuesday today, and I think fighters usually arrive in the fight week hotel on Tuesday. So I gotta be honest with you, right? We've spoken a lot about this in Discord. Even though I'm researching this fight now, I would be surprised if it happens. I do think there's a really high chance that this fight gets cancelled, because even though Luque has been cancelled, Luque has been cleared since the brain hemorrhage, and he's had a year suspension to recover. I can't help but feel that when someone in the Athletic Commission, like a second pair of eyes, a second opinion, take a look at this fight this weekend, and they see what Luque's been through, I just have a strong feeling that another opinion or a second set of eyes will cancel this fight. Because you've got to think about it, right? The duty of care for fighters lies with the Athletic Commission sanctioning the event. So if the Athletic Commission grants Luque a license to fight, and anything were to happen to him after everything that he's been through, liability is kind of with them for clearing him. So for me, is one of those situations where I do think there's a really good chance this fight is going to get cancelled, because I just feel it is a huge gamble for any Athletic Commission to take to allow Luque to fight because of what could happen, you know. So yeah, I do think there's a good chance this one still gets cancelled, Kanye, mate. So Chaz is saying he would have already failed if his scans were showing a problem. Yeah, it's tricky, man. I think I'm surprised an Athletic Commission's clearing him, just because obviously it's all about liability, and they're not, you know, imagine the headlines if anything seriously bad were to happen to Luque this weekend. Imagine the headlines, you know, after he got cleared to fight after what's happened. Like, it is dangerous territory, and I think the Athletic Commission will maybe take a second look at it this week. Yeah, Kanye, we spoke a lot about the the brain hemorrhage issue right at the beginning of the stream, so I won't go back over it now, but when the stream finishes, the video will be uploaded on YouTube for you to take a look at. So yeah, let's get into this second round now. It starts at 8 minutes and 7 seconds. So start it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So Barberena, not wanting to get taken down, has closed the distance quickly, put Dos Anjos in the clinch and looking for his own takedown. He's probably thinking, well, if I stay out in the middle of the octagon, I can be taken down. One way to stop that happening is to take the fight to RDA and try and get him down. Obviously RDA, much higher level grappler than Barberena. So Barberena's not having any success here at all. He can't get past that left overhook that RDA's got, and so he lets it go. Beautiful double leg entry there from RDA, and just switches to a single leg, rips Barberena's legs out from underneath him. But like I say, Barberena is difficult to hold down. He does do a good job of popping back up to his feet. You kind of saw it there where he immediately got to his knees. So RDA still with a body lock. Again, Barberena gets to his knees and pops back up quickly. Got that overhook on the right side. It's not a tight overhook because he keeps letting go of the overhook to throw short shots to the body, which is a huge mistake from Barberena, because as he let that overhook on the right side go, that enabled RDA to shoot in on the legs and get him back down. When Barberena was trying to defend RDA's takedown, when RDA was trying to defend Barberena's takedown attempt, he did it with an overhook, but the overhook was so tight that Barberena couldn't drop down and get in on the legs of RDA. The difference there is Barberena kept loosening up the overhook on the right side to throw punches at the body, and then RDA just used that as an invitation to drop down, get in on the legs, complete the takedown, and now we can see RDA working for mount again from half guard. Again, it's an awkward position where it's right up against the cage, so if RDA does take mount, he's at risk of Barberena kicking off the cage and rolling out of this, which is what he tried to do there. But Barberena's just put himself in a worse position now, because he's no longer in a position to push off the cage. He's not really in a worse position, actually. He's managed to pivot to get his back tight to the cage so he can start the wall walk. But RDA passing over the half guard and starts working for mount again. I meant he was in a better position from being mounted, but now while he's in a worse position for being mounted, he's in a better position to work his way back up to his feet with the help of the cage. He's managed to get that right leg free from underneath RDA, gives his back up to get to his knees, but RDA two hooks in. Forearm across the face, going for the choke. More of like a face crank, I think, unless the forearm is under the chin, which I don't think it is, but I can't see from this camera angle. I think it's just across the face. RDA gets it. Very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Alright, so what I want to do now is go and take a look at Luque against Belal Muhammad, because I'd like to see how much of an impact all that damage that Luque suffered in round 1 against Jeff Neal had an impact on how he looked into the second and third round, and if Luque looks better defensively, if he looks sharper here against Belal Muhammad. So if I drop in the links for this fight to Twitch and YouTube, sync this one up for me, sync it up. So here's the ESPN Plus link coming. Sync it up. So this first round starts at This first round starts at 3 minutes 11 seconds. That's 3 minutes 11 seconds. So sync it up for me, guys. 3 minutes 11. And let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Would be a shame if this fight got cancelled after we spent this time researching it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. We got to get through this card, right? I mean, the bonus is if the fight were to get cancelled, I'm guessing that they would just find a replacement for Luque. RDA would probably still be in the main event. So the work we're doing won't be totally lost, because we will have looked at RDA's strengths and weaknesses. So what I'm noticing already is Belal Muhammad is landing that left hand clean and hard. Now, the danger levels for Luque aren't the same, because Jeff Neal fought out the southpaw stance. So his power punching hand was his left hand. So when Jeff Neal would come forward and land that left hand clean and hard on Luque, it would be his left power punching hand. Belal Muhammad is landing the left hand clean here, but it's not as big of a deal for Luque, because even though we're seeing a little bit of stance switching from Muhammad, for the most part Belal Muhammad is fighting orthodox. So when Muhammad throws the left hand out there, it's the jab. It's not a power left hand. I mean, like you can see here, occasionally switching southpaw to throw kicks, but for the most part, Belal Muhammad is boxing from the orthodox stance. Now that might change. We're only a couple minutes into the fight, but it looks like Muhammad is going to the southpaw stance to throw body kicks and inside leg kicks. and he's boxing from the orthodox stance. Haven't really seen Belal Muhammad throw any power left hands. Watch, he's going southpaw, throwing the kicks, and then see, he went southpaw, then he threw that body kick immediately back to our orthodox. Now he's southpaw, now orthodox. So watch, boxing with orthodox. Watch, if he goes southpaw, he'll throw a kick. Boxing, southpaw now, expect him to throw a kick. Expect him to throw a kick. He circled away. So he's back to orthodox. We'll see boxing. Watch boxing. There you go, boxing. Now he's gone southpaw and he throws a kick. Very predictable pattern from Belal. So now you know when Belal Muhammad is orthodox, he will box. Watch, he'll throw a kick now. He's southpaw, he'll throw a kick. He's circled away. Southpaw, he's looking to throw a kick. But Luque keeps cutting him off. He went for a takedown. He got trapped too close up against the cage. So yeah, now if you're watching Belal, what you'll notice is he doesn't throw kicks from the orthodox stance. He only boxes, and he doesn't throw many punches from the southpaw stance. He only throws kicks. He shot a nice deep double leg there. Got Luque down very easily. Drove through with a nice double leg. And now Luque off his back has gone to close guard. So Belal advancing to half guard, which we know is a position that RDA likes a lot. So Mo Sharif is saying that he's pretty sure Belal Muhammad was fasting for Ramadan for this fight as well, which is super impressive. Although, you know what? This might sound crazy. I don't know the exact, like, hourly time frames for Ramadan, because it's going to change wherever you are in the world, right? Some parts of the world get more daylight than others, but I know that can't you only eat from like sundown to sun up? Is that what Ramadan is? I'm pretty sure it is. And so, you know what? I don't think that's that bad in terms of an impact on a fighter's cardio, energy levels, or anything like that. Only because if I'm right and it is like sundown to sun up, like I do intermittent fasting, so I fast for 16 hours a day, and then I eat for 8 hours a day, which I think would be about the same as Ramadan, because if it's like sundown to sun up, that's not going to be any more than 8 hours, I wouldn't imagine, right? No matter where you are in the world. Unless it's like fucking Finland or something, which is like light all year round at some times and then dark all year round at others. So yeah, right now I do intermittent fasting 16 hours a day, and it's not as bad as people think. Like once you get used to it, you actually have more energy. Like I feel I have more energy than when I'm eating all the time. Like obviously it's different for me because I'm just a geek that sits in his pants watching fights all day, whereas a fighter like Belal Muhammad is going to be, you know, burning through lots of energy and training. But the thing is, once ketosis kicks in, it might not be that bad, you know. It might not be that bad. The whole fasting thing, I think for people that don't fast, they think it's like really hard. But once you get used to it, kind of isn't. But then I suppose with Ramadan, you wouldn't be used to it because you'd only be doing it during Ramadan, right? You wouldn't be doing it all year round. Once you get into the swing of things, though, it's not too bad at all. I like it. I actually prefer it. It does give me more energy, but then I'm not in the gym fucking killing myself all day like Belal Muhammad would be. Because you know for a fact, someone like Belal Muhammad, with how good Belal Muhammad's cardio is, you know he puts major time into the gym because the guy never gets tired. I mean, I don't even think I've ever seen Belal Muhammad breathing heavily. Like, one of his biggest strengths is his cardio. So maybe it will affect him. Who the fuck knows? Thanks for letting us know, Mo. So let's get into this second round now. It starts at 9 minutes 21 on Fight Pass. 9 minutes and 21 on Fight Pass. Yo, not too long, Kanye. I haven't been doing it for too long, but it fucking feels great. Actually feels great, man. It's a lot easier than I thought it would be. Maybe it's different for other people, but it is a lot easier than I thought it would be. So let's get into this next one. Sync it up, get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, let's go. So obviously, Belal Muhammad's strength is his kicking game, right? We know Belal Muhammad's got amazing leg kicks, really good body kicks. Boxing's not Belal's strong suit, so we're not really seeing Luque take tons of damage on the feet here. However, Belal Muhammad is still landing a decent percentage of his punches, particularly with the jab from the orthodox hands. I mean, look at that combination there from Belal. 2-punch combination. Luque didn't even move. Now, because Belal Muhammad doesn't have much power in his hands, didn't really affect Luque. Luque kept coming forward. He ate it without issue. But Belal caught him clean and hard there. And also, I will say this while we're on the topic of Belal Muhammad, because this guy takes so much shit online, which is really, really, really disrespectful. Belal Muhammad is incredible. One of the most underrated guys in the welterweight division, no doubt about it. Tough as nails, amazing fight IQ, never-ending gas tank, good footwork, good movement, superb kicking game, one of the best offensive wrestlers in the division. There's not many guys in the welterweight division with a better deep double leg takedown entry than Belal Muhammad. His grappling control's not the best because he's not the most physically imposing or powerful guy, but that's probably the trade-off that he has to make for having an amazing gas tank, right? There will always be trade-offs. You can't ever be incredible at everything. So, you know, Belal not being the most physically imposing dude is probably why his gas tank's so amazing. I'd probably prefer a better gas tank, to be honest with you, because it just allows him to go so hard at such a good pace for so long. And most guys aren't going to be able to keep up with that. We obviously bet on Belal Muhammad to beat Gilbert Burns, and that was one of the main reasons, because we knew Burns just wouldn't be able to keep up with Belal's pace. So Belal is so disrespected online. People just do not realise how good he is. He's criminally underrated. I think he's very, very good. He's very, very, very good. And Luque finding that out the hard way, because Luque isn't really having any success here at all. Despite being able to cut the cage off and trap Belal in an uncomfortable range, he's not really landing anything. Belal's just moving side to side and just chipping away at Luque, racking up good volume. And again, Luque's just not really moving his head. Do you know what? I'm not sure if I'm going to be betting Dos Anjos in this fight, but I do agree with Joey McBride. You'd have to be crazy to bet Luque. You'd have to be absolutely crazy, because in both fights now, beautiful double leg again from Belal. And we were just complimenting Belal Muhammad on his double leg takedowns. Amazing takedown entry. And now again, instead of Luque showing urgency to pop back up to his feet, he immediately goes to close guard with 1.5 minutes left to go in the round. So we know Luque is very weak off his back. This is one of those fights where very little end product on the feet from Luque. Very bad striking defense. Not the best takedown defense. Very weak off his back. Like, even though RDA is 38 years old, there's a lot more reasons to like. Apologies for that, guys. I didn't realise that Telegram was still open. We'll quit Telegram so that doesn't happen again. It's probably a message for crypto though. I'm long on Bitcoin at the moment. Is crypto popping off? It is indeed. Very, very nice. So I'll actually keep an eye on this if you don't mind, guys, just because I'm long on Bitcoin at the moment. So I don't want to get caught out. I want to take profit when taking profit is smart, which will be at about 30,100, and you can see we're up to like 29,008 at the moment. So we want to be very careful with that. I'll just keep this open in the corner of my eye, bring the countdown clock back up. Just when we get to like 30,100, I have got a take profit limit order in place for 30,100, but I just like to keep an eye on how things are going, just because obviously if we're looking great as we approach 30,100, I will maybe hold on to things and not take profit. But we'll see. I think I will take profit. We'll just keep it open. In fact, we drop to the 15-minute. That'll give us more of an idea of what's happening. There we go. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so just want to actually rewind just a minute or so just to see how Luque ends up back to his feet here. So Belal actually tries to pass his guard, and Luque uses that as an opportunity to clear his legs and scramble over to the cage. And now he's trying to wall walk, but Belal's on his back, deep hooking on the left side. And Belal's doing a good job. He's kept the right arm on the right side of Luque to create a barrier between Luque and the cage. So it's very hard for Luque to wall walk while Belal's got that right arm in that position. And these are all the kind of things we know RDA likes to do. We saw him do them against Barberena. And in a scramble, they're now back up. 20 seconds left to go. We could probably skip through this, right? Nothing major is going to happen. Alright, sync up round 3 for me now, guys. Sync up round 3. So round 3 starts in 15 minutes and 34 seconds. That's 15 minutes and 34 seconds. Sync it up for me, guys. 15 minutes 34. 15 minutes 34. Yeah, it's when fans do stuff like that, it's just so disrespectful. Like, MMA fans are really annoying. It isn't nice. I'm in a lot of different online communities for various different things, and most of them have quite positive vibes, quite positive energy. For some reason, the MMA community just ain't that nice. And Joey's just talking about the example of a fan who got in line to have a picture taken with Belal Muhammad, and then basically told him to get out the way because he just wanted a picture with a belt. He wasn't interested in having a picture with Belal. Basically, some dickhead just queued up to kind of clown Belal on video, which is just the biggest dick move ever. Then obviously there was something else that happened, I think, in that press conference recently with Misha Tate, or that fan Q&A, where a fan started talking shit to Belal Muhammad. It's just, I just get embarrassed for people to do that. It's absolutely fucking pathetic. Show some more respect. These are some of the, these are like, literally, let's be real, we all love the UFC. I'm not saying this because I'm biased, right? These are the best athletes in the world. They have to be in peak physical condition while another human being's trying to kill them. Basketball players, football players, NFL, tennis, baseball, none of that shit is the same. You know what I'm saying? MMA is the pinnacle. These guys deserve more respect. So anyway, let's get into this third round. Starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, let's go. Let's get into it. Let's go. Stinging lead left hand there from Luque. It was a very, very stiff jab. Actually wobbled Belal a little bit. You saw his legs go very briefly. He kept a good poker face and recovered almost immediately. But Belal was definitely hurt off that jab. But to be honest with you, we're 11 minutes into the fight, and that's the first significant strike Luque's landed. He hasn't really landed anything else of note up until this point in the fight, which is why Belal Muhammad's barely got a fucking scratch on his face. But Luque's starting to get more aggressive now. Nice inside elbow there from Belal. Shoots a double leg. Luque stuffs that with the help of that overhook on the left side. They're up against the cage now. Belal does still have full control of Luque's body. I'm interested to see how Luque does in this position, because obviously the majority of RDA's takedown attempts come from this clinch position. So this is going to tell us a little bit about how much success RDA is likely to have in the clinch. So Belal's got control of Luque's body here on a body lock. Luque with an overhook on the left side, which is pretty tight. And they're back in the middle of the octagon. Very nice. So Luque back to putting pressure on Belal, forcing him to fight on the outside. Another nice left hand from Luque. So Luque's starting to open up, get more aggressive. What's interesting about this fight is Luque started very slow. Wasn't that aggressive, didn't throw much in the first 2 rounds. He didn't really have any success. Belal outstruck him from the outside. Now you can see Luque's gone up a gear. He's far more aggressive, throwing far more. Luque in this 3rd round reminds me of how Luque looked in the 1st round against Jeff Neal. So what's really interesting about this is, this fight against Belal Muhammad obviously happened before his fight against Jeff Neal. So I'm wondering if Luque realised after watching this fight that he started too slow. I mean, maybe he started slow because he was pacing himself, because this was a 5-rounder. But maybe he felt, I started too slow, I gave away the first 2 rounds to Belal Muhammad. I was causing him problems with pressure on the feet, but it was way too late. I needed to go earlier. So perhaps Luque came out harder and more aggressive against Jeff Neal, because that's what worked for him in this 3rd round against Belal Muhammad. And obviously that's what resulted in him taking so much damage in round 1 against Neal, because Neal's obviously a lot more dangerous offensively than Belal Muhammad is. And we can see Luque's managed to scramble back up to his feet now, and he's putting a lot more pressure on Belal Muhammad. Spinning elbow, looks like it might have missed. It was close to landing, but looked like it might have landed on the shoulder of Luque. So this fight is really interesting to watch, because I feel like I'll say what I want to say after this round. There's only 20 seconds left. We'll get the next round going, and then I'll talk about why I think this fight is really useful for our research. That's one thing we haven't seen from Belal Muhammad in this fight since round 1. So we know that Belal Muhammad's body kicks and leg kicks are 2 of his biggest weapons, but after the 1st round we haven't really seen him go to them. For the most part he's been looking to box. So get this 4th round going now. Sync up round 4 for me, which starts at 21 minutes and 46 seconds on Fight Pass. 21 minutes 46. Yeah, I agree, Joey, mate. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, I think I agree, man. It'll be a shame because of how amazing he is, but yeah, I think he's gonna have a pretty steep decline, man, with how much damage he's taken, which is really sad. But you never know, man, right? He's only 31 years old. Maybe his health scare will like force him to change and fight smarter. Because there was that period in Glover's career where he was getting lit up on the feet, taking big damage, and then he realized that he at his age he couldn't get into these crazy wars, and so he kind of evolved his style to not take as much damage. I mean, ironically, he was still involved in some wars, like the Jiri fight was crazy, but it's never too late to change. Alright, let's get into this next one now. Round 4. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this is a really good fight to watch, because I feel RDA and Belal Muhammad have a lot of similarities. So you can't really compare RDA to Jeff Neal, right? Because Jeff Neal hasn't got any threat of wrestling. You know, Jeff Neal for the most part is a striker. Jeff Neal is also a lot lighter on his feet than RDA. He hits a lot harder than RDA. And where RDA has got, you know, predominantly a kicks-based style of striking behind that Muay Thai, Jeff Neal very much a boxer. So Jeff Neal and RDA are extremely different. There are a lot of similarities though between RDA and Belal Muhammad, in the sense that they like to mix up their striking and grappling, but neither guy is the most physically imposing on the ground. They're both very good grapplers, but they don't have that crushing grappling control. They also have more like kicks based styles of striking. Like both RDA and Belal Muhammad are good boxers, but they don't really have much power in their hands. Their main weapon is their kicks. That's like another similarity. And so watching Luque against Belal Muhammad, I think, is really useful for kind of visualizing how he might do against RDA. Because we can definitely see that Belal Muhammad has struggled with the pressure. He's been very uncomfortable here. And while Belal didn't take much damage in round 1 and 2, when Luque did start to open up in the second round, he started to cause Belal Muhammad problems. What's really concerning for me about Belal's performance here, for Luque's performance here though, is it's quite obvious here what Belal Muhammad's strategy is. Like, Muhammad's strategy has been to circle away and avoid engaging for the first half of every round. Just try and chip away at you from the outside. And then what Belal's trying to do is charge his batteries up to commit hard to his grappling in the second half of the round, to end each round in a dominant position and steal rounds with takedowns and grappling. It's very clear that that's what Belal Muhammad's strategy is, because he's done that in every round. But even in this 4th round, he's catching Luque flat-footed and by surprise. Luque's not reading that. He's not seeing it coming. And Belal keeps hitting these easy takedowns. And we know throughout Luque's career, his takedown offense and ground game hasn't been great. Oh, it's not fair to say his ground game is not great, because he does have a nasty submission game, and his, you know, his submission defense is very good. But his takedown defense is real bad, and he's very, very weak off his back. Now, in the last 2 rounds, Luque has been able to scramble back up to his feet. And you'd think with how much smaller RDA is than Belal Muhammad, you know, RDA would probably have some trouble getting or holding Luque down. The size difference is going to be pretty notable. Alright, so let's get into this 5th round now. Let's sync up round 5. So round 5 starts in 28 minutes 25 seconds. Sync it up, guys. 28 minutes 25. 28 minutes 25. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So again, Luque coming out very aggressive in this round. There was a notable shift in his aggression levels after round 3. So Belal shot a takedown there. The entry wasn't as clean, wasn't as deep as the takedown entry in earlier rounds. So Luque was able to see it come in and stuff it. It's going to be interesting to watch RDA against Fiziev, because I know RDA did have trouble getting Fiziev down. And Luque is a lot bigger than Fiziev. I think Fiziev is like 5'8". What weight class was that in the Fiziev fight? It was lightweight, interesting, and now RDA's gone back up to welterweight for these last two. Interesting. Yeah, I'm interested to see how much success Fiziev had stuffing the takedowns, working his way back up to his feet. Nice double leg entry there from Belal Muhammad. So Luque tried to defend it with a guillotine, and Belal immediately rolls to his back to defend it. So what's interesting is it took Luque a while to get there, but by the 5th round it appears he's starting to get a read on Belal Muhammad's takedown entries, because Belal has shot twice in this round and Luque has slammed the door in his face both times. Another deep double leg from Belal. Luque gets his back over to the cage. Belal immediately looks to take the back. So Belal got it on the 3rd attempt. But he was also able to generate quite a lot of drive on that takedown entry, which RDA may not be able to do. Because obviously RDA is a lot smaller. He might be slower than Belal. His entries might not be as good. Although, to be fair, with RDA only being 5'8", he is going to have that lower centric gravity. So when he shoots in deep on the legs of a taller opponent like Luque, it's going to be harder for Luque to get down, get those underhooks in play low enough to stuff the takedown entry. What I will always also say is Luque's takedown defense up against the cage doesn't look great, which is predominantly where RDA likes to work for takedowns from. And from memory, a decent amount of the grappling in the Fiziev RDA fight did take place up against the cage. Yeah, Luque just doesn't look good up against the cage at all. Looks very weak from here. So Luque back up now, turns into Belal, looking for an overhook on the right side. Belal back in on the legs. Can he get this? Good wrist control on the right side from Luque to prevent Belal from connecting his hands together on that takedown entry. 45 seconds left to go. So yeah, you know what? I think by the time we're done watching this Fiziev fight, we're going to have a pretty good idea of how this one's likely to go. I think on the feet, obviously, you know, Luque's taking a lot of damage. Defensively isn't good, but RDA is very old. Luque does have a 6-inch reach advantage. On the feet might be tough to call. So I think once we have a look at RDA's offensive wrestling against Fiziev, now that we've seen Luque's takedown offense and ground game against Bilal, we'll have a pretty good idea of the best thing to do here. Like I say, because of the layoff for Luque, the health issues, it's very, very difficult for me to bet him. I'm not going to be, but I am open to betting RDA with how bad Luque's takedown defense looked there, and also the fact that obviously Luque coming back after having a brain hemorrhage, which we spoke about at the beginning of the live stream in a lot more depth. So sync up this next fight for me now, which is going to be Fiziev against RDA. And I think by the time we're done watching this one, we're going to have a pretty good idea how this fight is likely to go. So sync it up, guys. Sync it up. Sync it up. So this will probably be the last fight on the live stream, and I think by the time we've done this, we'll know pretty much what to expect this weekend, as crypto starts to wake up and fly for the first time in many weeks. Many weeks. I need to get my exchange up as well, because like I say, I am long on Bitcoin at the moment, and I want to take profit at around 30,100, which we're not too far away from. So I'll get my exchange up now, just so that we can be ready to exit when the time is right. But for now, I think there's still a little bit more room on this move up. I think we'll get to about 30,100. And then possible rejection, possible continuation. I don't know, but either way, I want to take profit. Alright. So let's get into this next one. Fiziev against RDA. So this first round starts at 2 minutes and 48 seconds. That's 2 minutes 48. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, go, go. Go, 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 go. So obviously this fight is in the lightweight division. Luque, RDA are fighting at welterweight. So RDA may be a bit more physically imposing at welterweight than he would be here. But also, Luque is a lot bigger than Fiziev, which may negate that. So single leg entry there from RDA. Fiziev immediately read it and went to the overhook on the right side. Let's see RDA's offensive wrestling now from this clinch position. So that overhook from Fiziev on the right side is really preventing RDA from being able to drop down and getting deep on the legs. You can see, you know, something as simple as that overhook is giving RDA a lot of trouble here. Now they're back in the centre of the octagon, so now we're going to get a good look at RDA striking, just something we didn't get to see in the Barberena fight. So RDA is southpaw here. Nice body kick from RDA. I will say this, I know it's very early, we've only been watching a little of RDA striking, but I'm already feeling like I don't think he's going to pose too much of a threat to Luque on the feet. Luque's got that 6-inch reach advantage, and even though Luque doesn't move his head that much, RDA doesn't look the quickest. And obviously at welterweight you'd expect him to be even slower. That is a very nice double leg takedown entry though. Again, Fiziev's got amazing balance and he was able to get that overhook in play on the right side. But with how easily Luque was getting taken down off those double legs against Belal, that's the kind of double leg that you could see RDA completing. But again, up against the cage in this clinch position, RDA doesn't look the most physically imposing here. You can see RDA getting caught there. The 2-strike combination. Yeah, I don't see RDA doing anything here in the first round. Is going to be particularly scary for Luque on the feet. A double leg entry was nice, but Luque's probably got the advantage when it comes to striking here. Just the size, the reach, the speed, the aggression. So sync up round 2 for me now, which starts at 9 minutes and 3 seconds. That's 9 minutes, 3 seconds. Sync it up, guys. Hey, what's up, Cam? Hope you're doing good, mate. Thanks for watching, Cam, mate. What's up, Danny? What's up, Blackleg again? Blackleg is saying Roundtree at minus 200, 1.50 seems strange. Do you think that the odds should be closer, or do you think Roundtree should be a bigger favourite? Let me know what you think, mate. I researched that fight yesterday. Let me know what you think. Alright, let's get this next round going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I do think that this fight is going to be decided by grappling. If Luque can keep the fight standing, I think he stands a pretty good chance of winning. But obviously, he did give up a lot of cheap takedowns against Belal and did look weak off his back. We know RDA, very good grappler, but there is going to be a decent size difference in this. Is RDA going to be too small to take Luque down? That's the question. That's not an easy question to answer. We got a little stoppage for an eye poke here. We'll just wait for the fight to start up again. Here we go, they're back up and running. So again, nice deep single leg entry there from RDA. Doesn't get it, but now he has control of Fiziev's body. Fiziev's trying to break the body lock grip. RDA looking for trips from this position, but obviously Fiziev's balance is very, very good. Luque's balance, like we saw in the Belal fight, not so good. So RDA is shooting really nicely timed takedown entries here, but it's just Fiziev's takedown defense, his balance, his ability to read the entries early and deal with them before RDA arrives at his legs. It's impressive. What's interesting is it was Gaethje's performance against Fiziev that kind of got me over the line in betting Gaethje in the last live stream like this that we did. And now Fiziev's takedown defense is absolutely phenomenal. I'm just wondering if Dos Anjos might be too small to have success with grappling against Luque. On top of that, you know, Luque has been out for a year. If he is going to evolve as a fighter, you know, fight safer, fight smarter, grappling would be one of the things that he's probably focused on. So Luque's takedown defense could be a lot better this weekend, because if Luque is going to try to maybe mix things up and he himself grapple from now on, then naturally you'd think there'd be a benefit to his takedown defense if he's improving his offensive wrestling. Beautiful double leg there from RDA. That's picture perfect. And it was only the strong hips of Fiziev to shut that down. Really, really good takedown. Really good takedown entry there from RDA. Picture perfect, beautiful. I'm pretty sure Luque would get taken down off a takedown entry like that, especially with a lower center of gravity. You've got to think both RDA and Fiziev are 5'8", whereas Luque is close to 6 foot tall. So with RDA being 5'8", when he shoots that kind of takedown on Luque, he's going to be so much deeper in on the legs of Luque. And obviously the lower and deeper in you are on the legs, the more chance you've got of upsetting your opponent's balance. It's like a skyscraper, right? What's the best way to get a skyscraper to topple over? Think about Jenga. Take the pieces out from the bottom. Topples over. It's the same with takedowns. So Fiziev has that small, compact, muscular frame, that low center of gravity. Yeah, to me, RDA just hasn't looked dangerous at all on the feet in this fight. Slow hand speed, no power in his hands. Obviously, Luque may not be anywhere near as durable as he was in the past, but doesn't look too dangerous at all to me on the feet. So let's get his third round going now. Sync up round 3 for me, which starts at 15 minutes and 52 seconds. That's 15 minutes 52. Sync it up for me. Sync it up, guys. So taking your top knot is saying that there's not going to be much chance that Luque is then sparring for this camp, because obviously the issue with his health that he's had. So as a result, he's saying that there's a good chance his timing's going to be off. That's a great point. That is a great point. I love that. Well said, mate. Well said. So CJ Lauderdale is saying, I just got really into the UFC over the past couple of months and I'm really getting into research. Trying to make predictions. What's all the charts for? I'm interested. Oh, these charts are just for Bitcoin. That's all just Bitcoin. That's all it is, mate. I trade Bitcoin. I'm really deep into crypto. I'm quite passionate about it, and I've got a long trade on Bitcoin at the moment, which is essentially just betting on the price to go up. So I've just got it up in the background, just for me to keep an eye on, just in case anything crazy happens while I'm on stream. I can react to it and deal with it, man. That's all it is, though. Nothing to do with UFC. So anyway, let's get into this next round. Start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, let's go. So RDA has struggled to get Fiziev down, but Fiziev's takedown defense and balance is incredible. Luque's takedown defense balance hasn't looked anywhere near as good. But how much of an impact will the size difference make? So now you can see RDA, the body lock, looking to upset Fiziev's balance, but he just hasn't had much success. I know that he does get Fiziev down at one point in this fight. I believe it's this round. And you can see he's very deep on this body lock here. And like I say, Fiziev is way better at defending himself in these positions than Luque was. So one hook in on the right side now for RDA. Fiziev just turns into him. Be interested to see how RDA's cardio looks here as well. We've obviously seen Luque's cardio in a 5-round fight. This will give us a good idea of how RDA is going to look into that 4th and 5th round with how hard he's grappling here. Single leg entry from RDA. Fiziev scrambles out of there. Very, very nice double leg entry there again from RDA. This time he's got his hands connected together on this double leg. But Fiziev has got that overhook on the right side, digs the underhook on the left side, and again stuffs it. Very, very nice. Again, that was a very nice entry from RDA, and you can see he literally just looked over at his corner looking very frustrated. So you can start to see RDA fading a little bit here. He's put so much energy into trying to get the fight to the ground that here you can see he's starting to get frustrated. And when he's trying to take Fiziev down, there's not as much chain wrestling. He's not persistent as much now as he was earlier in the fight, because he just hasn't got that same energy. And so Fiziev is finding it easier now to stuff these takedowns. And RDA hasn't really posed any threat to Fiziev on the feet. Oh, Lauderdale, I wish I could do that, mate. That would be pretty impressive if we could measure it. That would be great, mate. So, let's get into this fourth round. Because obviously, it's a 5-round fight this weekend between Fiziev and Luque. We want to see if, say for example, RDA starts strong this weekend and has a lot of success with his grappling early. We know Luque performed quite well in the later rounds against Belal Muhammad. So we want to see if RDA is likely to have the energy to get Luque down and keep him down if the fight goes deep. So sync up this fourth round for me. It starts at 22 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. RDA is noticeably slowed here for me in this this fourth round, or this third round leading into the fourth. So Mo Sharif is bringing up a really good point, saying that RDA's cardio is maybe going to be better in this fight against Fiziev because he's going to be heavier at welterweight, right? So even though he won't be depleting his body as much to cut as much weight at welterweight, he will be carrying more weight. He will be the heavier man, so he might slow down faster at welterweight. That's something to think about. I suppose, though, at the same time, not having to cut weight might make his cardio better. So there's like two ways to look at it. But you would expect him to be like sharper at lightweight, right? He's just not as big, just not as big, not as heavy, not as clunky. But the thing is, even here at lightweight, his hand speed is pretty slow. You can see there was nothing on that takedown entry at all. That was like the weakest takedown entry we've seen from RDA. Just didn't generate any drive on it at all. Fiziev slammed the door in his face easily. So yeah, man, as we come to the end of this live stream, I think it's time we start wrapping things up. So for me, I'm probably going to pass on this one. I had a feeling I would pass before we started the session, and I'm very happy to pass now after we've researched it. The way I look at this is, with Luque's health issues, it's very, very difficult to trust him. Who knows how his confidence is going to be affected or his durability. He may never be the same again. Having said that, RDA is going to be 39 years old in 2 months. He's going to be a lot smaller than Luque. I do give Luque quite a big advantage when it comes to striking. And while I do think RDA will likely have some success with his grappling, with how much he's faded here, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take down the bigger, stronger man into that, into the second half of the fight. Because we've got to remember two things. Luque is a lot bigger than RDA, and also we haven't seen Luque for a year, so he could have improved his takedown defense a lot in that time. So this is one of those fights where I think it's really dangerous to bet on either guy, and I'm quite happy to pass on it, if I'm honest. I think it's very difficult to feel confident either way. Let me know what you think though in the chat. Are you guys going to be betting this fight? For me, it makes sense that the odds are in the even money odds range because I think you could build a strong case for betting either guy, but it's very difficult to feel confident either way. So because of that, the even money odds are probably pretty accurate. That's the way I would look at it. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think, man, as we wrap this one up. Let me know what you think. So eventually in round 4, RDA gets the double leg. Fiziev trying to get that underhook on the left side to clear his legs out from underneath RDA. RDA just got his hands connected around the body of Fiziev, trying to pull him off the cage, but bit of a stalemate. Fiziev doing a good job of keeping his back tight to the cage, which is something Luque didn't do against Belal. He kept exposing his back up against the cage, which enabled Belal to get that hook in on the left side over and over again. And that's what RDA wants, right? He wants to peel Fiziev off the cage so he can get the back control like he did to Brian Barberena, but it's taken him till round 4 to get it. He's probably going to get it a lot easier against Luque, but I'm not confident enough he's going to be able to get it to be able to bet him in this fight, especially with his age. And Luque could have improved. Like, I wouldn't rule it out. So let's get into this 5th round now, where it ends. Let's go. So round 5 starts in 28 minutes and 24 seconds. That's 28 minutes, 24 seconds. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, that's going to be it for this live stream though, guys. Thanks for everyone who watched. Not sure what the main event for next week's card is. Should we have a quick look? Because if it's a competitive fight, I might do them for next week's main card as well. How could I forget? It's the big pay-per-view next week. O'Malley, Sterling, Weili Zhang, Amanda Lemos. So yeah, we'll do a couple live streams next week. We'll do live streams for the main and the co-main. Both should be pretty good fights. So yeah, we'll come back and do that. And we were mentioning Cody Garbrandt earlier on the stream. He's in the main event of next week's card. Not main event, main card against Mario Bautista, which is a strange fight to put Cody in that fight. What are the odds on that one? Let's have a quick look. Yeah, Bautista's a big favourite. I thought he might be. I was just about to rush off and bet Bautista if his odds were playable, but they aren't really. Very, very steep favourite. Not good. Not good, not good. Alright, anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Take care, love you all guys. Have a great week. I'll be dropping a breakdown video for the whole main card soon. Head on over to my website, mabettingtips.com, if you want to check out cool things like joining the Discord community. You can just click this here and it will show you how to join Discord. But yeah, for now, nice one guys, take care, have a great week.